Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Arts at EPCC. My name is Dr. Yasmin Flores, and I'm an associate professor of music here at the college. With me today is a student of mine, Miss Falisha Childress. Hello, Falisha.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Or afternoon, I don't know.
Or evening, right? Yes, because we don't know when the show airs, yes. So thank you so much for doing the show. I really appreciate it. I know it's kind of, I run last minute sometimes, and this is one of those weeks where I was like, oh, tomorrow's Tuesday. Hello, right?
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Of course. So I'm so glad to have you on the show because I look for students with a bright, sparkling personality, and you're one of those. And I have to first comment on this lovely blouse that takes me back to, it's reminiscent of, I want to say 1989. I'm looking at like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, MTV in its heyday, right? That's where, and so I was like, I love that blouse. It's absolutely beautiful.
The good old days.
Right, that's what I wanted to say, exactly. So Falisha, first of all, you are Falisha Childress. You're a student of mine, Music Theory 1. You, tell me a little bit about yourself.
A little bit or a lot of bit? No, I'm just
all right. What do you think?
Well, I mean, what do you want to know specifically?
Okay, I want to know, first of all, what drew you to music?
Well, I mean, I've always loved music, for one. My dad actually got me into music, I'd say. Yeah.
Awesome.
He was a singer. He thought he was one of the Temptations.
Oh, okay.
He would do the dance moves and everything.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
So I was raised listening to a lot of like Motown, like the Temptations. He was a big James Brown fan.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's such a beautiful era of music that can never really be replicated.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when you look at the machine that now generates a lot of these boy bands, because that's what it's become. And isn't it funny how we use the word boy instead of male bands, right?
Or doesn't have the same ring to it.
Really doesn't. And when you think of the Temptations, you think of 4 adult men because they were always dressed in suits. And that was your comment one day when I mentioned Motown. And so because you might know a little bit more about it, it was that Motown's PR, their marketing, would work with the talent, teach them how to interview, teach them how to dress, how to behave. And so everybody that came out of Motown in that era, I think of Diana Ross, Michael Jackson was involved with Motown briefly. All of those folks, they knew, and they were always dressed to the nines. And I should take some lessons from Diana Ross. Hello. And so it's so amazing. So that's your dad's influence. And going back to NSYNC, that was my comparison. NSYNC and who's the other? There's been so many that they're referred to, and they even
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys. That's the one I couldn't think of. Yeah, and they behave like younger kids, right? Like almost like a high school. There's the K-pop now, which they look like they're in high school. So I don't know what that growing trend is to try to be younger. So you are a singer, and you told me just a moment ago that you even spent a little time with Disney.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, first of all, how do you land that gig, right?
Well, to make a long story long, my journey has pretty much been like not a straight line, just kind of like going like this. Like I referred to my life kind of like the Forrest Gump movie, because there was like not really a plot. The movie just goes and goes and goes, and he kind of just lands here and there, and then
yeah, I do remember that.
You know, he's in the army, and then he's playing football, and then he's playing like
ping pong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so right.
And then he owns a business, and then like, but none of it was like a plan. Like it kind of just happened.
Landed in his lap. That's amazing. So let me ask you, where are you originally from?
I'm from here.
You're from
Paso.
here. And so, and Disney is nowhere near here.
Yeah.
And so how from El Paso, Texas, how did you, was this an application? You just decided to throw your hat in the ring?
So, I started here, I started at UTEP, going to school there.
Okay.
But my plan was always to own my own record label. That was like kind of like my goal.
Okay.
Because going back to the Motown thing, like that was like what I love, like artist development, like helping up and coming artists, like just sharpen their craft. And just like, you know, get on stage, but don't just sing there, stand there, like get the people involved, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're here for a show.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my passion, just like the developing artists. So when I started at UTEP, I wanted to do music and business, but I wanted to get my degree in business and like also music, but they wouldn't let me do it that way.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So because it's two separate colleges. So you have the business college and then you have the music or the fine arts.
Okay.
So I was like,
interesting.
Why can't I?
Right. You would think like, I'm offering you money. Right. Like, how interesting. Okay.
So what I did was, I mean, I just started taking like, I got the degree plan, the music degree plan, and I just started taking certain classes here and there.
Right.
While I was doing my business core classes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So then while I was doing that, I just started randomly getting like ads from Full Sail University.
Oh,
they started sending me things.
Sure.
So they have a degree music business. I was like, well, that's what I was trying to do here.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much, I ended up over there in Florida.
Okay.
And I got my degree there, my first degree there.
Oh, awesome. So our lab assistant, Daniel Becker, right? He has his degree from Full Sail as well. And so he's very knowledgeable about all the trinkets. I call them trinkets because, you know, even the lighting in here, I'm like, I have no idea. I stick to what I know, which is, you know, clarinet, right? And so, okay. So you wound up in Florida, you're at Full Sail.
I graduated from there, came back to El Paso, and then I started working for, it used to be called the El Paso Convention and Performing Arts Centers.
Okay, sure.
So it was like the McKilligan Canyon, and the Civic Center, and then Plaza Theater. Like we would do events at all of those venues. And then the Disney Live show came to the Abraham Chavez Theater.
Okay.
So that's when I like got introduced to the company. I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. You know, you have the banners and then at the top it tells you like the company that produces the show.
Okay.
So then I was like,
right.
You know, Google.
Right,
you know, started researching and then I applied a couple times and never heard anything back and then started to get a little discouraged. People were like, well, maybe you're aiming too high. And I'm like,
oh, no.
That's the only way to aim.
Right, exactly. Thank you. You know, Falisha, I'm going to pause because I have to comment on your one-liners. You have like the best one-liners. Like, if all of this does not work out, a T-shirt business and a poster business with motivational sayings, I love it. I love it. That is the only place to aim. So one day you get a call or a letter.
Well, no,
neither.
The story continues.
Yes.
So they actually came back for another show, and then I was like, you know what, like sending out like resumes and stuff like that is not really working. So like I need to like put myself in front of someone.
Right.
So I actually went and I was like, can I speak to your manager? And they were like, yeah. I came dressed all with my suit and everything, ready.
Okay, yes.
I had my resume.
Oh, nice.
I had it all in different colors. Like I took some time with it.
Wow, sure, of course. Of course.
So then I actually met with the manager and I was like, I've applied a couple times. Like I haven't heard anything back. So just wanted to know if I could hand you my resume and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no. Like, if you already apply, like, I'm sure they already got your information. And I was like, oh, well, that didn't go as planned.
Right.
So then I just felt like, I guess, well, I gave it a good shot, you know? But then shortly after that, they actually did get in contact with me, and then it was actually like, it was a wild ride, because, you know, they're like, you need to get a passport, you need to do this, you need to do that. I had like 2 interviews, and then they hired me, and then they're like, okay, we booked your flight, we're going to fly you out to Pennsylvania. And then
and what did you do in Pennsylvania?
Well, that was the first stop. So I was meeting up with the show because they were already on the road.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I flew out there. They picked me up in a white van. I was like, what did I sign up for? I'm in a small town. I don't even know where I am.
Yeah, that's starting to sound kind of scary.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy.
Yeah. And so then you finally get in, you have this experience, and you were working kind of stage crew essentially?
I was more on the business side since I have my degree in business. So we were mostly doing like merch.
Oh, nice.
And I was kind of supervising all the people that you see in the stand selling popcorn and cotton candy.
How cool.
And T-shirts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All those expensive toys that the kids just have to have.
Right. That's really, really, that is a very interesting life, because so you have all these wonderful experiences that you bring to our classroom, right? And so now, what is the plan? You're here, you're taking several courses, sight singing, music theory 1. What is the plan when you get done here?
Well, you know, going back to that experience with Disney on Ice, like, I felt like, yes, it was fun. Like, I got to travel, you know, all over the U.S.
Right.
We were on tour in Canada and Mexico. But it was like, I was so far away from the music, which is like my passion, that I felt like, this is cool, but it's not like where I want to be. So I have to like figure it out. So came back to El Paso, and then I was just like, man, I actually went to an event that EPCC held. It was at the Trans Mountain location though. Okay. They brought out a hip hop artist, and he like did like a motivational type speak, like a motivational type event. And then afterwards he put on a show, but like on the east side. Okay. So that was like, wow, like they're doing all this amazing stuff at EPCC. Like I need to get involved. Yeah, you know? So absolutely. I was like, I started looking into it, and I was like, I really need to like sharpen up my skills, because I do sing, but if I actually want to help someone else, you know, sharpen up their skills, like I really need to speak the language, and like understand like what is going on, you know.
and that's so brilliant that you say that. And I've performed in some studios, a modest amount, okay, certainly not a recording artist by any stretch of the imagination. But I do know that it's always helpful when the folks that are working in the background, that are recording you, that are working, you know, with the venue and the acoustics and all these things, so helpful for them to have that music background. So you stress that. Let's kind of, for our audience at home, let's kind of map out what we do in these courses, just so that, you know, if we have some folks at home that are looking at El Paso Community College as an option. Music Theory 1, which is kind of the foundation, one of the foundation courses of the music degree of the AA in music, is it's basically teaching you how to read and how to write music. So right now, we're already starting to get into the thick of it, which is we are learning, you've learned your key signatures, right? What is 2 sharps? I'll put her on the spot now. Maybe D. You should. Yes, D major. Good job. All right. She's on it. Good. So you know, you've
I've
learned
been practicing a little
good.
bit.
Excellent. so you are you've learned your key signatures. We've talked a little bit about rhythms, right? And some time signatures. Now we've talked about intervals. We're approaching chords. And one of the questions that one of the students asked yesterday was like, why do we need this? And it's so important. So picture, for example, I'll tell you, when I've recorded stuff, I splice, okay? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna be one of those people that says I played in one take. It's rare when that happens. It has to be, obviously a simple enough piece. But when we splice, whoever's doing the recording has to be able to read the music, right? It's not just measure 45. It could be that as you're reading along, it's the second beat of measure 45 on the second 16th note, right? That they go, okay, actually, this is a good spot to splice because it won't be as noticeable, right? And so those are kind of the things that a recording person should be aware of, a sound engineer. As far as venues, now you talked about owning your own label. So that is big, because that's a lot of like separate departments all under one umbrella, okay? And so you'd be the one big umbrella that oversees, as you pointed out, PR, your marketing, all of that. Obviously your sound engineers, your venues, as you pointed out with McKelligan Canyon and the Abraham Chavez, the Plaza. I can't remember the new company. Is it Visit El Paso?
El Paso Live.
El Paso Live. Thank you.
Yeah.
El Paso Live owns it now. Yeah, and those venues are beautiful venues. The Abraham Chavez, I think, is still stunning. A wonderful venue. The Plaza I know, playing in the orchestra myself sometimes, that the Plaza has some challenges there, but it's a nice venue nonetheless. And so these are other issues. Where are you wanting to settle down? Let me ask you that question.
Well, I mean, I'm here. Here for now,
right.
I just kind of go with the flow. Like,
okay,
I'm more of if the opportunity comes, then just take the opportunity. Because even when you messaged me to do this show, I was like, I'm kind of out partying right now. Let me take it easy if I'm going to get up and
exactly.
not look crazy. But
right. That's hilarious.
But like, if the opportunity is there, like, I feel like just take it, because you never know where it can take you in life.
Right.
But I do love El Paso, and we have a lot of talent here.
We do.
The thing is, more of the business side, they don't really know how to put their music out there.
Right.
Even the first steps of even just copywriting your music, or like, what is publishing, what is anything with...
I have a student that I should introduce you to, who's been on the show, and his name is Moises Seco. Okay. And he came on the show, and he already has, if I'm not mistaken, a YouTube channel where he uploads his music, right? And so, and he's talked about going to LA, and he's talked about expanding on this. And so I think he sells these music clips to people to use as background on things. And again, I'm like from the classical world, and I have to say, I look at this whole new genre, at this whole new thing now, almost with jealousy and regret, because I never got into it. And I kind of feel like at this point in my life, not that I'm obviously never too late to learn, right? Join us at EPCC. But I kind of feel at this point in my life, my world is classical music. It's a different animal altogether. And it's a little more, well, obviously archaic, right? And the approach. And so with all this pop music now, with electronic music, etc., it's a very different just perspective on how to put music together, on how to make it available. Now, of course, it's online. When it used to be interviews, it used to be phone calls, it used to be, letters in the mail, in the physical mail. And so all of that has changed so much. But I should put you in contact, because I bet he would probably benefit from some of your knowledge, because he is really wanting to, and he said he's had some takers, that he's had some people that are interested in his music, which is terrific. And smart young man that really does want to make it, you know, and he would be it's a great example for you to work with. So you're thinking of sticking in El Paso. Let me ask you a deeper question. If you opened your own record label, what would set you apart from studios that already exist?
Pretty much the artist development aspect of it, because there's a lot of studios here in El Paso. I actually do have my own studio. It's
nice.
A smaller studio though, but I do have a stage there because I'm like very big on live shows.
Okay.
Like, I need your live show to be good. You know?
Right.
Because it's terrible when you're listening to the song on the radio and you're like, yeah, this is my song, whatever, you're all into it. Then you go to the show and then the artist is just there and they're like not doing anything, just singing the song, and then even worse, singing along to the track. Yeah. Like, make it more interesting, you know? Like, we paid money to see you, like,
exactly.
entertain us.
Right. So, okay, so you would be doing some artist management. Can you help define that for us? So we mentioned public relations, and what else? What all is involved when Taylor Swift first hit the scene, right? What are they doing with Taylor Swift? Because now you can kind of define the brand, right? You define it, and not only that, but there's a whole nother element when they become that famous. Yeah. It's sometimes these folks have to kind of pay off the tabloids too, to kind of keep everything on the DL, right? Because sometimes if they have a certain image, and I'll use Tom Hanks as an example. Tom Hanks, Taylor Swift, they have this very kind of clean, very meticulous image that they have to maintain. Yeah. And so if anything leaks, it's like, clean it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've seen that with a lot of artists. If somebody gets a hold of a story and then give it 2 or 3 weeks and suddenly the artist pops up again on Google, but they're donating to this cause, right? And you're like, wow, what happened to the big scandal from 3 weeks ago? But that's good PR, right? And so is that the kind of thing that you're kind of seeing yourself? It's a big umbrella.
Not so much like that. I feel like I lean more towards like authenticity. Like, I want you to be just genuinely who you are, because people gravitate towards that more than, you know, crispy, clean image, because no one is that perfect, you know? Yeah. And if they appear to be that perfect, then, you know, like you said,
things are going to start.
There's a lot of things out there that just haven't surfaced yet.
Right, exactly.
But they will eventually, and they always do.
Don't they, though? And so then my question is, would you sing on your own label?
Actually, I've started to get more into it. That was like, that's part of the other interesting part too, because like I've always seen myself more like behind the scenes. Yeah. But the more that I get into it, the more that I get pushed to the front. And I'm like, well, this isn't really what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to just like, you know, I wanted to be in the studio, but not necessarily singing. But then, you know, I'll start singing and people are like, oh, you sound so great, or, you know, why aren't you doing more of this? And I'm like, well, actually, why am I not doing more of this? So, yeah, that's part of the reason also why I started back at EPCC. Because now I'm starting to work with, like, bands, and I've been in the studio. Like, a lot of people have started asking me, hey, can you sing, like, some background vocals, or can you do the harmonies for this? And I'm like, well, I just sing, like, I just open my mouth and I just sing, like, but when you ask me to do, like, really technical things like that, then that's where the lack of, you know, education or training comes in, or we're working with a band and they ask me, are we gonna do the song in the original key, or do you have a different key that you would prefer to sing it in? And I'm like, just play it, and then we'll see how it sounds, and then you guys can just figure it out.
Right.
So there's been times where we'll start in the original key, and they're like, well, maybe we should do it in a B flat or something like this, and I'm like, well, I can't really tell the difference, Well, I could tell the difference because I sing, but if you ask me to sing something and ask me what key I'm singing it in, that's where the training comes in. So that's another reason why I'm back here.
Are you currently in lessons? In applied lessons on voice?
No.
You're not. Okay.
But a couple years ago when I started at EPCC, I was doing vocal classes with Dr. Gurola.
Yes. Okay.
But I was taking your class and sight singing and her class, and it was all pretty much new information for me.
Right.
So I'm learning how to sight sing and read notes, and you want me to sing in a different language all at the same time. I'm like, it was too much for me, because it's I have to learn the building blocks.
Right. So you bring up, and so I'll bring this up to the audience as well. We offer part-time schedules and we offer full-time schedules.
Yeah.
Full-time is ideal for students who, and sometimes we have students who already come in with a strong backbone in music, a strong amount of knowledge, and usually coming out of having been in region band, having several accomplishments in high school, and so they come on board with us. For them, the beginning of Music Theory 1 is essentially a review, right, of everything that they know. So they're already coming in rather comfortable. But the doors are open to everyone at EPCC. The part-time schedule is there for, as you pointed out, sometimes we have students that come in and they feel overwhelmed. It is a lot of information. And it just kind of depends on, to kind of recap today's episode, your life took these interesting twists and turns as everyone's life does, right? And I think in retrospect, you're going to see how lucky you are to have had those opportunities, right? Eventually, when you get your studio up and running, and it's, it gets bigger and bigger. But that's exactly it. That's a perfect example. If you want to just get a taste of music, if you want to just kind of dip your foot in, we do have Music Theory 1 and Sight Singing 1 as co-recs, okay? So that means that you have to be enrolled in both. However, you can contact us in the music department and tell us, you know what? I just want to take Theory 1 this semester. So sometimes we have students that tell us that. They're like, look, I'm not in a big hurry, okay? So
that's me.
Not
in a big hurry.
Not in a big hurry. And so if that's the case, then they will just take Music Theory 1. They'll concentrate on that, especially if they have a full-time job on the side. Then the following semester, they'll do Sight Singing 1, do some core courses in the summer, like English or Education 1300, come back in the fall and start picking up where they left off with some music appreciation. Spring, they take Theory 2, etc., right? So I think that is ideal for some folks, and it's a wonderful opportunity that we offer our students.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of classes that I plan on taking, even the MIDI courses. Those come in handy.
Yes, absolutely.
But, yeah, so far I've learned a lot just in the short period of time that I've been there.
Of course.
So it's been great for me. And even with the singing that we've done, I've already felt like my voice has improved.
And good.
I just have a better knowledge,
yes,
just
understanding of things.
More training, so.
Wonderful. Well, Falisha, I want to thank you for being on the show today. And for sharing with us, your whole background. It's fascinating to know, because each one of you has this story that you all have to tell, and it's so interesting because you've been all over the place, right? And so that's really awesome. Well, Falisha,
before we wrap it up,
yes,
though, I do want to say that there is an organization here that I'm involved with, the El Paso International Music Foundation.
Okay, all right.
It's a nonprofit, and we do a lot of events like seminars for up-and-coming artists who want to learn about publishing or copywriting their music, or pretty much anything within music business, and we're starting to branch out into other fields as well.
Okay.
So with that foundation, we were able to create El Paso as a music-friendly community. So now we're able to get grants for artists.
Wonderful.
Music.
Yeah.
You know, because we do a lot of, El Paso does grants for like paintings and sculptures and stuff like that, but not a lot of grants for actual musicians.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like
that's very good.
The lane that we.
Yeah, we'll put that at the bottom of the screen. Can you say that one more time, the name of the organization?
El Paso International Music Foundation.
El Paso International Music Foundation. Yes. Very good. All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Falisha, thank you. I'm going to invite you again in a couple of years and see how you're doing, see where you're going, so we can keep tabs on you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Lovely to have you on the show today. Thank you so much
for inviting me.
Of course. Yes, absolutely. And for you all out there, if you are interested in our music program, send me an email at yflore14@epcc.edu. You guys take care for now, and until next time, bye-bye.